It's the right time for Right Time Radio. I am Lynn Donovan and my co-host,
Sue Hawes. Good morning.
Good morning. Today we have a repeat guest. You know, I almost said repeat offender.
That's because the subject matter.
I know, we were just discussing the news today.
News a little bit before.
But our repeat guest, we're so happy to have Jean Alfieri in our office again, or what is this, studio
is jail,
today?
cell.
Right. In our jail cell.
It's going to be one of those mornings.
Sorry, say hello, Jean.
And I'm still going to say thank you for having me back. I know with all of that. Thanks
That's okay.
for having
JJ
me.
was calling me Ted for some reason. I don't have any idea where that came from. So.
It's just one of those days, guys. Well, we're so excited because we're not talking so much about Zuggy the Pug today.
That's right. We've got a little different something. We're changing it up.
But Zuggy the Bug kind of bug. Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to talk.
Zuggy the Pug. Thank you, Sue.
Is he in jail too?
I hope not.
He's in his kennel.
That's a whole other
Same
story,
thing.
right?
Doggy jail.
He did inspire this. So let me just tell you, Jean Alfieri is an advocate of adopting senior dogs. Jean and her family have had their share of heartbreaks when the beloved fur family member passes away. I know, even my chickens, when I find my chickens dead, I'm like crying and having a ceremony.
It's a connection.
I swear I'm going to stop eating anything with a face. I just have got to that point in my life that
Well,
can't stand
if it comes in a Tyson package, I don't see the face, so I'm
that's
okay
true.
with that. But I do not go out and butcher my chickens. I get their eggs.
Come here,
anyway,
Harriet.
sorry, we're going to do a lot of rabbit trails today. I apologize up front. Anyway, to cope with the loss, the family has a tradition of telling their favorite story about that dog over the dinner table. In doing this, Jean realized how much of a human legacy is lost within a single generation. My goodness, is that ever the truth?
Oh, yeah.
We don't tell our own stories, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. We'll talk about this later. I'll tell you my story. Let's see. I've lost my place.
You're going to hear me giggling a lot today, I think.
In doing this, Jean realized how much of the human legacy is lost within a single generation. Inspired, she created Blessed to Be Me to celebrate the stories of your life. Better than a DNA test, this guided journal provides a treasured legacy for your loved ones. Ancestry research can tell you your family where they came from, but Blessed to Be Me reveals who they came from. Allow generations to come to take a look back and celebrate the fondest memories.
Yes.
Welcome, Jean.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this is a really cool spiraled journal. It's paperback, and you walk through it, and we're going to talk about all the different things that it can help you do. And I'm just so excited. I love this.
Me too. And I shared with you when I arrived that I've had a couple of interviews, but there have been 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. There's never been an opportunity to talk about it. And to share, right? Because we all have some kick-ass stories to tell.
No
and so
kidding.
Here's a place to do it.
There's even pages to color.
Yes.
I love
and doodle.
this.
It reminds me of the...
We'll make sure you get crayons
All right,
with
thanks.
yours.
I appreciate that.
Now, this is available where?
It's available on Amazon, so you can get it there. And I actually have an excerpt chapter that we were going to talk about. If people would like to test drive this a little bit and get an excerpt, I can provide you one. If all I ask in exchange is that I put you on my newsletter, it comes out every other month, and it offers some story prompts. And I call it wine and dine discussion.
Oh,
so
nice.
whether you're a writer or a talker, it gives you something over the dinner table to discuss.
Excellent. And most everybody is one or the other.
I'm both.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm both.
Sue and I are and Jean too, really, we're the exception to the rule in that we are more extroverted and not introverted like so many authors are.
Yes, it's true.
All right, so if they want this e-copy version, it's an excerpt. It's basically chapter 7,
chapter 7,
correct?
yeah.
Where can they get that?
They can get that by emailing me at Jean, Jean, at blessed, BLESSED, 2bme.com.
Nice. Okay.
And it's chapter 7. That's what you're getting. And the reason
Right.
why is it's a great place to start. You can start at the
We'll
beginning
flip
and go
over.
through the whole thing. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can do it however you want. But the reason I suggest chapter 7 is because a few weeks ago, my husband had a buddy over from work. And we got to talking, and all of a sudden time went by, and he was late to get to his girlfriend's house. And he was panicked. She's making lasagna. I'm running late. I got to stop and get her something. And I had just gotten my copies, and I handed him one, and I said, how about this? And he goes, it's beautiful. How much do I owe you? And I said, no, you're doing me a favor. I want to get it out there.
Yeah.
Give it to her and tell her you're sorry and have a good dinner.
Awesome.
So off he went. And the next day, my husband comes home from work, and he said, Mike, his buddy, came in this morning and told me you are a rock star. And I went, wow, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And he said,
Let's
well,
talk about that.
he went to her place and provided her the gift. And she looked at him and said, why would you get me this? And he said, well, because I thought you'd like it. My buddy's wife is an author. And
In that half a second, he was trying to
exactly.
get
He was
saved,
wondering.
yeah.
And she said, well, and what I didn't know was she's a nurse, and she works in healthcare, and she'd been working overtime, and she'd been working, difficult shifts, long hours. And she felt like she was bringing it home. And so when they offered counseling to anyone who felt they needed it, she took them up on it, and that day had an appointment with a counselor, and he had suggested that she journal. And she said, I know. She said, it sounded like a great idea until I got home and picked up a piece of pen and paper and had never
didn't know
journaled
what to
before.
write, yeah.
And so here he comes walking in the door with this. She goes,
Wow.
and when he left, I said, ask her to start on chapter 7 if she doesn't know where to begin. It's about the best, the worst, and the weirdest of times. And if that isn't what we're living right now, I don't
Amen.
know what is. And so she did. He said she started with chapter 7 and just kept right on going. So,
Wow.
yeah. It was
that's
very,
almost a God thing.
I gotta say, I was so pleased to hear that.
And looking at chapter 7, it's titled A Moment in Time.
Right.
And I love this power for ponderings. So
Yeah.
you kind of lead the thought process. And then it has a little graphic that says, nobody told me there'd be days like these, strange days indeed.
Right. And
From
throughout.
John Lennon.
Right. There are quotes throughout. And this one, yes, from a song lyric from John Lennon. So there's a brief intro that kind of sets the stage. And then there are affirmations. And then there's actually the story starter or the prompt.
Yeah. And then there's lines on which you can write.
Yes.
So get an extra piece of paper and stick them in, because there'll probably be more than what you can put in here.
Yeah.
And you know, the nice thing about when she said she didn't know how to journal is I don't either. And I'm from the days of keeping diaries.
Yes,
and
me
I
too.
shouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah,
But
Dear
what
Diary.
I do is I will write something down,
Yeah.
and then here's this piece of paper here. Here's this
Yeah,
piece
yeah,
of
I
paper
hear
there.
ya.
But if you had something like this, even if you're
concise.
jotting down somewhere, you can pull it out of your purse and put it in
Right.
here until you're ready to ponder
Yes.
it.
Yes. And this year of all years, when everything is just so weird and, unfortunate, it's just a matter of where do you capture something that makes you feel good? And,
Yeah.
it could be for others. Diaries capture everyday stuff, but what you've got the opportunity to do here is capture family memories,
Yeah.
your own personal memories.
And then this is the legacy you leave your children.
Yes.
And they can read it to their children, and so on and so forth. We need to take a break, Miss Sue. So hold that thought.
So we're going to take a break.
Hold that thought. Can you hold that thought? Now, if
No,
it's me, I'd forget
it's
it. But,
me, but
here,
yeah.
write it down. I'll give you a pencil. We are going to take a break. This is Right Time Radio, and these are our commercials.
This is Jesse from Big O Tires and Service in Canyon City.
And this is Spencer, also from Big O Canyon City.
Hey, Spence, why are you standing in the middle of that water?
If we're going to get our message out about Big O Tires, we've got to use streaming.
Once again, Spencer, you've got it all wrong. You see, streaming means...
Plus, I can keep my feet nice and cool. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
Well, Spence, there's nothing fishy about Big O's low pricing. Big O always has the lowest prices on name brand tires from B.F. Goodrich, Michelin, Cooper, Goodyear, Yokohama, Big O brand, Continental, and more.
It'll all be covered in my streaming broadcast.
And Big O also has the lowest prices on service too. Brakes, shocks, struts, alignments, and lots more. And never any bait and switch pricing.
Hey, Jesse, I'm trying to do a streaming broadcast and you took all my good lines.
Sorry, Spence, your streaming's all washed up.
I really don't like it.
Big O, the place to go.
Big O Tires and Service, 3030 East Main in Canyon City. Well, guess what? After a short hiatus, Mr. Ed's family restaurant is back open, and Steve says there ain't no virus gonna shut him down. Mr. Ed's will be open from Friday through Monday from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Dine-in or takeout. Now you can call Mr. Ed's at 275-5833, place your order, and choose from any one of the incredible menu choices. That number again is 275-5833 for Mr. Ed's family restaurant.
KRLN weather, sunny and warmer today. Southeast winds at 10 this afternoon. The high today around 86. Clear skies tonight with a low near 54. Sunny, just a few degrees cooler tomorrow with a weak cold front arriving. Tomorrow's high around 83. 52 was our low this morning after a high of 80 degrees yesterday. Currently 71 degrees at the Weather Center.
Talk Radio 1400 KRLN.
Welcome back to Right Time Radio, and we're here today with Janelle Ferry, and we're not talking about Zuggy the Pug today.
Nope.
We're talking about Blessed to Be Me.
That's
and
right. A journal.
It's how to journal.
Yeah.
And what I was looking at is we were talking before the break about how to journal.
Right.
Yeah.
And what
so
Jean
many
has
people
here,
don't know how.
Nobody knows, and we were talking about you write your thoughts down. You have this great thought and you write it down, but then you lose the paper.
Yes.
So at the very least, you could put your paper in this book, but
That's a good idea.
She has places here to write. And one of the things that I picked up on is the best, the worst, and the weirdest of days. What do you consider your best times to date? Was it a relationship, a series of years, or a particular decade? And then she gives you a place to write down these ideas so that you can save them and fill them out or fill them out here. It might get you started on a whole thing. And then what I love is what were your weirdest of times? There were strange days, and what transpired influenced the rest of your life. How did they shape the person you are today? And we've all had those weird moments that in some way or another might tip you.
Right. Yes.
And push you one way or another.
And as much as we try to avoid the bad times, isn't that where our greatest growth usually comes from?
Unfortunately. And the harder they are, and it just shows how stubborn you are that you're not.
Right. Well, and if you recall them, right, as much as you may not want to reflect on them, when you look at what resilience you had to get you through that, not only should that prove to you that you're capable of getting through times like this, right, but you can share that with others too who are going through a hard time.
Well, it doesn't kill you,
And
makes you stronger.
women in particular don't look at that. Women don't see.
We figure we should just be able to shoulder those things and keep on moving forward and functioning.
Yes. And I think something about this that intrigues me is writing it down and saying, look what I did and where did I go from that moment? Look what I did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
I
was that stupid?
I didn't kill anyone or end up in jail.
Or I did, and then there was a lesson there, right?
Or I did, and there's a lesson
or
there.
propositioning a cop.
I'm just saying.
Just leave it at that.
It was an accomplishment.
Well, she accomplished going to jail. There you go.
Oh, we're talking about the news earlier today. It's such a funny.
You
well,
can't
I guess
fix
it's not
stupid
funny.
moments.
No, you
Such
can't
a
fix
sad story that you told of someone that wasn't in trouble and got herself into trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Just
That sounds like me.
Just like, well. Everybody needs a hobby.
But it cost her $3,000.
Well,
So.
some hobbies are more expensive than others.
That's true. I did want to read one thing that Jean sent me, and it kind of I don't know what you'd call this, an overview maybe of the journal.
Right.
And it says, "Blessed to be me" is about capturing the thrills, chills, and even the spills. That's the poet in you.
Yeah,
you
right.
Could not do that. All the many stories surrounding the evolution of you. And that's what we were talking about, is that we go through these things and we do evolve and hopefully become better people. And do we forget where we've come from? So, Sue and I have had lots of conversations about this, because we really have come from being kind of doormatty and go along ski and and all that. And we've learned to sort of stand up for ourselves and say no.
Yeah.
No.
And
not
what a
gonna
beautiful
do that.
place to be, right?
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing, I was talking to someone the other day about family history. Mm-hmm. And I think, this is an opinion, ladies and gentlemen, but I think that a lot of the trouble that this country is in right now is that we no longer have a sense of family or patriotism. And my son was talking, we've been talking about both myself and his father have had their DNA done. Mm-hmm. And now he wants to have his done. And we were talking about, he said, look at these with the steps and the halves, and nobody knows where they're from.
Right.
And the thing is not so much the disjointed families, but we don't know where we're from. We don't know we're German or Irish. And Ancestry.com has a commercial that I just love, and it's the guy in the lederhosen.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
he's
yeah.
the German, and
Right,
he's dancing,
yes.
and we grew up German, and then we found out we're not German.
Yeah.
And so
he
I
has to
had
change
a
his
revelation. He changes his costume, and when I had my DNA done, I had a major
Surprise. Okay.
in my can I mention?
Do tell.
Okay, so I get the DNA, and I knew I was Scottish and Irish, and I even look it.
You look it, yes.
So I knew that, and that wasn't a problem. My mother's parents came over from England, so I knew that. What I didn't know is that I am almost a little over a quarter Jewish.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Okay.
And
Shalom.
Couldn't resist. Sorry.
And so I was telling my children about this, and
Yeah.
they're like, they didn't realize it's even an ethnicity.
Right, right.
They thought it was a denomination.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay then.
So there's a whole lesson that happened
Right,
at
so-
your house.
Sure.
So they were like, and then I'm explaining that it comes through the mother, and they're like, we're Jewish? So
Oy vey.
Oy vey. And my mother used to say that all the time, but she
Yeah.
always joked that,
Yeah,
about, but
sure.
we did not know. I did not know until this DNA test.
Yeah. So now you have to learn Yiddish.
Well, yeah. But, that's the roots.
No, I totally agree. And what a wonderful thing to find out
I know.
about your legacy.
I know, and I
then
always
start looking
wondered.
into that and seeing, who knows what the history is for your
And
family.
this, Blessed to Be Me, I was thinking is kind of a substitute for the family Bible that you
It's
sent
awesome, yeah, because the stories it can
That's a
share.
great thing.
Absolutely. As you go through the lineage and discover. And it's kind of fun if there's also mini prompts within it as well. So small story starters.
Right.
Like, and this is the end of chapter 7. Who were your best friends in high school and
Nice.
college? Because
Nice.
there's some great stories there.
Oh, yeah.
Which of those friendships have endured through the years? Because those are very special. What was the best advice you received? Who gave it to you?
Wow.
I know, and and that one was particularly inspiring to me because I could tell you off the top of my head. It was my father, and he always said, "Jean, don't worry about spending money, but don't waste money." And that stuck with
Nice.
me
Yes.
because people can get
Yeah.
money is a hot.
Gina's looking at me, and rightly so. Yes.
Yes.
So there's a thing that has to do with what are you doing with
Yeah.
what you make and how you spend and what you save and all of that. So
That is awesome. Now let's say this again. Now this chapter that we just discussed, you can get it by e-copy.
Yep.
Just that. so
Just
it's an
it.
excerpt.
Yes.
And we can do that by going to your
actually just
email.
Yeah, send me an email and I'll
that
send
is
you the digital copy. The email
awesome.
is Jean, Jean, at blessed to be me, BLESSED, tobeme.com. And I'll be happy to get it to you. I'll sign you up for the newsletter, and that comes out every other month. I hope everybody enjoys it.
Right. Oh, I can totally see why everybody
I
would
know.
enjoy this.
It's in the past I bought little things through church or something, and I started it. But this Jean has a little bit of everything here, not just your journaling, but I have a good friend. Hello, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Who loves to color.
Oh.
And so here it is. So if
Yes.
if you open
Yeah.
the book and this picture catches your eye and you start to color, and then it makes you think of something.
Yes.
And there's
all the
some
creative
nice
mind.
pictures
It's all
in
about the
here.
creative
And then
mind.
you can maybe
Look at this
write.
one.
If not, maybe you've just soothed yourself for
Yes.
coloring for a few minutes.
There's
Right.
one here sitting on like a sun, well, it's not a sun porch, but it's a porch. It's 2 chairs, and it's got a veranda thing over and birds flying. I mean, this is awesome.
It's very restful in itself.
Yes.
Did you draw these?
I did
Or
not draw
you-
them. No, I didn't.
Who is
And-
your graphics?
And so you've got Chris, right?
Ah, yes.
So, yes.
Go
So
ahead and tell
Christine
everybody who that is.
handled this for me. She is my graphic layout and designer. And actually, I have her acknowledged here so that there is
Good. At the
Christine.
beginning.
Yep, Sterling Bortner.
Yep.
Is my cover design and
Nice.
interior. Yep. And I have
is-
Alexandra Ruiz, who does all of the Zuggy illustrations. She did some illustrations for this book as well.
Cool.
So yeah, it takes the village, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yes.
knows that.
Absolutely.
And the quotes I've acknowledged who the quotes are from. My personal favorite
Right.
is the last one. There are no bad pictures. That's just the way your face looks sometimes. Leave it to Abraham
Amen.
Lincoln for that
Amen.
one.
Abraham
Yep.
Lincoln, love it.
Yep.
Love it.
And that is right in advance of the bucket list. So when you're done
Yeah.
looking back, you can also look forward.
Forward.
You know,
Awesome.
I have a friend that I travel with, and I tend to say we're going to someplace. And I realized that after doing this with her for about 3 years, she's never said, I want to go.
Oh.
X."
Oh.
She
there you
has
go.
always said, yeah, let's go to wherever you're suggesting. So I said to her, Sandy, do you have a bucket list?
Yeah.
And she said, no, because anytime I ever had an expectation, it was foiled.
Aww,
So
I
she's
hate
happy with
that.
your bucket list.
But I want her to have her own.
I know,
Yeah,
but I
totally.
well.
So we talked about that, and I said, well,
You
after
helped her
the
make
next
her
2
bucket
trips
list.
that I already
Yeah,
have
yeah.
planned, I
Let's do
told her
something you want to do.
Yeah.
to sit down. I said, sit down. Your life is different now from that time when you had no expectations. Please sit down, and even if you just write one thing,
Yeah.
She's evolved too.
Sure.
write
Absolutely.
one thing that says, I want to do this. You're too young. You're too healthy and strong.
Absolutely.
Pick one thing. I don't care if it's walk through Ryman Gardens. You want
Right.
to go somewhere,
Sure.
Pick one thing.
Yeah.
So something like this for someone like that
Uh-huh. Could get her thinking.
could get her thinking.
Absolutely. I wanted to back up a little bit. Jean talked about the illustrator in this book as Christine Sterling Bortner, and
So she's my
ahead.
print layout
Yeah.
and design person. She
Yeah.
didn't illustrate. So Alex had some illustrations within this, but Christine laid it out for me.
yeah.
And she helps
she's
you out
so
too, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Christine is one of those people that you kind of accidentally trip upon and become best friends. Never met the woman in person.
Right.
Only online. She's off in Pennsylvania somewhere. And there's not a day goes by I don't talk to her.
And talk about a great talent.
Yes,
Oh my goodness.
Just she mentors other writers. She and I do the reciprocity of help me make this blurb make sense, and she does the same to me. And I mean, it's just one of those people that when you get them into your life, you're like, how did I
I know,
function without
right.
this woman in my life? I get to meet her next year in June at Deadwood Readers Conference
How fun.
in person.
What a
And
gift.
we're actually going to stay in the same
Yeah, area.
we're gonna rent a house, and so there's gonna be 8 of us.
Very
there.
nice.
So,
that does
all
sound
right,
like fun.
we need to take another commercial break, and it is so hard to pull the microphone away from all of us, isn't it? Tay's over there going, yeah, we really need to pay
I
the
was
bills.
waiting.
Yeah,
Back.
gotta make those folks.
Got to
happy.
make those
Yes.
folks happy because they let us be on the air. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more from Jean Alfieri about her little workbook called Blessed to Be Me.
People make all kinds of mistakes with life insurance, like having some coverage but not enough to keep your family in the house, or only having life insurance through work and then losing your job. Want to avoid those mistakes? Get an Allstate agent. They can help you get the coverage your family needs at an affordable price. Are you in good hands?
Call Canyon City Allstate agent Trent Rundell today and ask for a complimentary life insurance review. 275-5762. Life insurance is offered by Allstate Life Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois, and Lincoln Benefit Life Company, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Royal Gorge Radio, along with these local businesses, want to give you free money.
Visit one of these Money Day store locations. In the Alta store in Fremont County. High Country Bank, 150 Reynolds Avenue. Kaleidoscope Inspiration, 602 Main Street. Coyote Coffee Den, Highway 115 Penrose. And Waterhome number 1, 1532 Elm Avenue.
Be present at your favorite Money Day location for Money Day. Same time, 2:30, and same channels, AM 1400 KRLN and 104.5 Star Country.
And if you're a business in the Fremont or Pueblo County area and would like to be a part of our Money Day celebration, just give us a call, 275-7488.
Hey y'all, it's Chelsea Lynn. Join Annalie and myself every Tuesday afternoon at 2:30 at your favorite Money Day location for your chance to win some free cash.
So visit a Money Day store location, register, be present at a Money Day store location every Tuesday afternoon. Listen for your name, hear your name, call back, and win. It's that easy.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook for the latest Money Day details.
Back to Right Time Radio with Gene Alfieri, and we don't stop talking. So Tay is like, please go to commercial. So we're back, and we're going to talk to you some more. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Jean.
Hello.
Hey, Jean.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Have we covered the subject of what this journal is? Is there something else that you want to share about what this journal is?
It really is a place to capture memories. And for those who aren't familiar with just sitting down and writing, it's to help. It's prompts, it's story starters. It was kind of interesting because it was fall of last year when I started doing this. So the timing of it really was incredible. I was reviewing my year. You know how you have your year in review? and you compare your goals to what
Except for
actually
this
happened?
one that we're going to
Right. This one should be forgiven. I agree. And nothing was coming up with what the standards I had expected. Right. So I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that, and Zuggy was going to be here and there and have sold this many. And after a while, I started going down the rabbit hole. Right. You start doing that swirling thing, and I'm like, you know, maybe you just need a break. So I took a nap, and I woke up and didn't feel any better. Okay. So I stepped away from it and looked at the other things that I had been writing, because short story poems are a lot of fun for me. They come naturally, but I also do other things to try and break it up a little bit. And I'm sure as writers, you do the same, right? Sometimes you got to try another genre.
I do.
Right.
Yep, yes.
Whether you like it or not, you need to stretch a little bit.
Yep.
And when I went back and looked at what I had written during the year, it was all personal essays. And they were my step away. And as I read them and I realized what a beautiful life I'd had, for me to get stuck in 1 year of didn't meet your goals was just pathetic. I mean, that was just, and so my husband came home and I read him the story I wrote about him. And he's like, oh, that's really cute. My son came home and I read him the story that I'd written about him, and he cried. And I'm like, oh, yeah, people might dig this. Maybe other people should do this. And I had originally thought I would create it for writers. And I had all these parameters, and it has to be this many words, because we dig stuff like that, right? We need to be able to fit it in. And then I'm like, no. If this, it's not like everybody doesn't have this issue. We all have goals that we don't achieve, and then aren't appreciative of what we do have in our life. And so I thought, let's just open it up. It's whatever you want it to be. Here's some coloring pages. Here's some inspiring thoughts.
It's really awesome. It really is.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that because she's here, because I have seen and bought many books over the years and have not felt them the way I'm feeling this just from seeing it this morning.
Well, thanks. What was very interesting, so it was almost ready, and we were in COVID. And I thought, oh, no book party, no book launch. Maybe I should just hold it. You know, maybe this now isn't the time.
Till this is past. And
all I heard back was, no, now is the time. Now is when we need to have it. And so figure it out, and I wanted to celebrate it in some way. And I heard in a webcast that I was listening to about virtual events. And I thought, okay, virtual. Let's do a virtual book launch. And as I thought about it, I got people together that would have never been in the same place.
At the same time.
I had Chris from the East Coast. I had my family in the Midwest. I had my author group in the Colorado Springs area, and it was just beautiful. We had all of 9 people involved. I encouraged everyone to wear a funny hat, because we didn't have to get out of bed in the morning. Really, during COVID, nobody was going anywhere. Wear a funny hat, bring a drink of preference, alcoholic or not. And that was funny, too, because we had it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and my sister-in-law called. She goes, I love that my sister-in-law can make me drink a beer at noon. I'm like, absolutely. It's
Made me.
5 o'clock.
Why is that a
Made me.
problem?
That's what I said. Yeah, absolutely. And so everybody
That's
came
great.
with drink in hand and a hat
Yeah.
on their head, and we just had a great time.
I love that.
That would have been
that.
I love
Hatter
hats
party.
too, so that would have been a lot
I
of
know,
fun.
me too.
Yes.
Me too. When I get a little sassy, I have a Sunday show that I do live. You know, I've talked about this, and it's actually in a group that's mostly readers, but the authors are there too. It's with Christine, as a matter of fact. She started. It's called Chat, Sip, and Read. So every Sunday at 2:00 our time, 4:00 their time, Parker J. Cole, who
I know Parker.
Yeah, who we've had call into the show, and we're going to have on the show one of these days. She's going to come here and be on the show. Anyway, she and I get on there, and we have guests and stuff like that. But when she starts getting sassy about things, I go and get this crown that I have, and I just put it on, and I just sit there, and she goes, I know, you're superior to me. I know. You know? And so we just do goofy stuff like that, and it's just so much fun, and everybody likes the show. It's just like a live chat on that website or
How
on
wonderful.
that Facebook page. So if you're a reader and you're a fan, go to Chat, Sip, and Read
There you go.
on Facebook. And like I said, Christine started it, but she opened it up to selected authors that she trusted, you know.
Sure.
And so we get to use it as our kind of like an author group,
Platform,
but yeah, where we talk to the readers, and there's over 900 members
How
on it.
nice.
So not only do you have your individual, it's for me, it's called Books by author Lynn Donovan, and those are like my intimate readers that I tell all the little intimate secrets about my stories and stuff.
She
know?
doesn't even tell me the secrets about her stories.
So it's called Books by author Lynn Donovan on Facebook.
I'm writing it down now.
Yeah, because I'll be like, just recently I said, hey, I'm writing a Christmas story. And I said, hey, what if the main character, the main guy, is actually a nephew of Mr. and Mrs. Claus? And all my readers started giving me feedback. Ooh, that's a good idea. Or no, he ought to be blah, blah, blah. So,
Was his name Fred?
you know, his name's Hunter.
Oh, okay. The movie Fred Klein.
That was a good
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
I didn't know that Mr. and Mrs. Claus ever had children.
I got.
Oh, they didn't. It's a nephew.
Well,
Never
this
mind.
is a nephew, yeah. I
One of those
I
mornings.
did get some feedback that said, hey, wasn't that done in a movie? And I went, maybe, but you know, there's never anything new under the sun.
No,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's hard to find new things, yes.
Was it you that was telling me, like, there's 5 main premises, and you're basically doing one of those no matter what
I
you're
didn't
doing?
tell you, but we talked about it, yes.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
You try so
Yeah,
hard to
it
come up
makes
with
sense.
something, and then you go, oh,
Nope.
they had it.
Right.
Yeah. I had another reader that didn't. The name of my female character was Mary because I have a sister named Mary, so I was kind of honoring her in the story. And the lady said, "Oh, well, it ought to be spelled Merry." And I said, "Well, the problem with that is I've already written 2 Christmas books that was called Mary's Christmas Day and Mary's Christmas Eve, and so kind of done the Mary thing." And she goes, "Oh, well, then it should be Noel." And so then I went to Christine and George and Parker, and I said, "Hey, my readers are really thinking my characters need to have a Christmassy name." And they went, "Why? It's your story." Well, okay.
Why don't you spell it Meri?
Yeah, there's an idea.
That's
There you
good.
go.
Yeah.
See?
That's good. I love my oldest
Or
daughter.
M-A-R-I.
Unfortunately, I wanted to be creative, and her name is Leslie, but it's Lesli.
Oh, nice.
And then it's Anne.
Yeah.
So her whole life, when we were writing something, people would write it out Leslie with an E on the
Of
end.
course.
And then being who I am, I would tell that person, oh, no, the E is on the Anne. And they would say, I did put it on the end. And I would say, no,
Yeah.
it's on the
It's
Anne.
on the
And I'd
Anne.
just sit there all innocent and go, it's on the Anne.
How funny.
And she hates me because she
Well,
can't,
you
she
can
can't
have-
get anything personalized.
You can imagine my daughter, whose name is Nisa, which is a made-up name. All her life, she said it's Nisa, like Lisa with an N.
Okay.
She's 35 years old and still says that. So anyway, back to Jean Alfieri's book.
Well, and I was going to offer to you, the platforms that are out there now and the different Zoom meetings that are going on.
Yeah.
There's just so much available. In fact, I'm kind of trying to transition because right now I would be in schools, right, doing Zuggy stuff, and no schools are having visitors.
Right.
In fact, I'm very sad for the loss of many arts classes.
Oh,
and
yes.
I'm sure everybody's, sharing that feeling with me. But I'm doing virtual. I'm doing virtual author visits, and it's a blast, I gotta say. So I'm hoping more
all
schools
you have
will
to
pick
dress
it up.
is from the waist up.
Well,
I wasn't going to bring that up. I was not.
Yes.
I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to bring it up.
And for me, I'm not. I'm dressing completely because I've got what I can do from home that I can't do for the schools is have the pug.
Nice.
So the pug can be with me doing the goofiness that the pug does.
Which I keep trying to get her to bring the dog with her, but she won't do it.
And the thing about this is my excuse is always, well, I'm not technical. I can't do things.
Well,
and
you've got friends
in
that
the
are.
last 4 months, I've had to learn
You've learned
some
it, yes.
things.
Me too.
I've had to.
Right.
Just for virtual meetings.
And it's not too
things.
bad, is
it? No, I remember I heard somebody, I was in a meeting, and I heard someone say, well, I can see Sue's on here, but I can't see her. And I'm going,
I know.
I don't know why.
I don't know why you can't see me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think everybody's had to do that.
I have to admit, Facebook drives me straight up the wall, but Facebook has made it very easy to do live broadcasts in your groups and stuff like that. Our church even does it. So
it's not my preference, but it's better than not being able to connect.
To be out
exactly.
at all. Yes.
And you just basically push a button and you're live and and you can and you could, I've done that too. But it does give you a 3, 2, 1. It gives you a moment there. But and then there's other things like my girlfriend Parker, she does this for like a living and she does podcasts. So hers are always projecting the live thing. So she's got other software. So she can bring in 4 people at one time, which is with Facebook Live, you can only do the one camera, basically. And she can do 4, plus she can bring in the cover art and show the different covers. She can do a marquee running across the bottom. So like you say, I mean, it's just...
It really is,
there's so much available right now that we didn't have 5 years ago.
And I need to learn it. And the reason she couldn't see me was because I don't have a webcam. So
that would be a problem.
That was showing me in the meeting, which I was trying to be, and my son is back here behind me, and he hears me. I don't know how to do this, whatever. And he comes running up with my phone and says, "Here, use this."
Yeah.
So I was holding my phone, sitting in front of my computer. Finally, in the meeting, they're like, "Oh, well, we knew you were here," and I'm like, "I can hear everything, but I can't see."
Yeah, you can't see
or
me.
comment. And then my son runs up with the phone.
That would be one of those events in here.
Yeah, one of these.
There you go.
Yeah.
A worse that turned to a good.
Right. Yes. See, I learned something. You're never too old to learn.
Where do we have the I learned something today?
Oh, they're all over the place. And there's gratefuls in there too, so things that you can be grateful for, which is...
And one of your quotes right here from Milton Berle is, laughter is an instant vacation. And basically all we've done is laugh since you came in this morning.
That's wonderful.
And you're going to go out feeling good.
Yes.
I love Milton Berle, so I love it that you quoted
never
from
liked
him.
Milton Berle.
Oh, I love him. I love him. I think he's awesome.
So what has been the weirdest thing for you ladies since this whole thing started? What would you say is...
Oh, with the COVID?
Yep.
Not so much weird, but just the isolation. Because I am an extrovert, and I hug people.
Yes.
First thing I did to Jean when she walked in with mask on, I
was happy
wrapped
for
myself
it.
around her.
Yep.
And it's weird to me to speak to someone at a 6-foot distance.
Right.
And not touch them.
And you found that you kind of just naturally like come closer together.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about where we're from, and I'm half Italian, and maybe it's that. But we're expressive.
Yes.
We like touching. It's
exactly.
It's all
and
very weird.
To only touch.
Paisan.
Yes.
There you go.
To go to church and only touch elbows. I leave
That's just weird. I'm sorry.
I feel like I've just missed out on.
Pastor walks up with his arms open, and then he's like, "Oops, wait."
Yeah.
Puts the elbows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that's been the weird thing is I've had to alter my own personality essentially, and like not get the fulfillment I need because we all know it's all about me, right? So
You keep saying that. Okay.
I'm trying to convince everyone.
Well, and there's something to it too.
Yeah.
I will be happy for it to go away.
Yeah, me
Just
too.
fine with me too.
Yeah. Amen.
Definitely.
Amen. Well, with that note, let's go to one more commercial set, and we will be back, and we will talk some more about this book, and then we're going to conclude our show, Right Time Radio. What? You have a thought?
No, she has a quote in here I'm trying to find.
Okay, she's going to find a quote, and when we come back, she will have found it. So now we're going to go to commercial, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Now is the time to get your kids active with the Canyon City Area Recreation and Park District. With restrictions in place, we are offering a smaller version of Youth Soccer and Football League sponsored by the Credit Union of Colorado. There will be flag football for kids in kindergarten through 6th grade, and soccer will be available for kids between the ages of 5 and 14. Rosters are limited to 12 players per team, and children will be placed based on the school they attend. Registration is open now through September 11th. Get more information at ccrec.org.
First Sergeant Aaron Tippett has been in the Army for 17 years and served multiple tours of duty in Iraq.
After returning from deployment, my friends and family noticed a significant difference in me, both mentally and socially. With their encouragement and support, I sought help for my invisible wounds and learned to cope with them effectively. I encourage any warrior coping with psychological health concerns to seek the care support they need.
Resources are available and they work. Visit realwarriors.net or confidentially call 866-966-1020.
There was a time when people loved to listen to their favorite music on the radio. That time was earlier this week.
Surprise!
Don't you love surprises? Radio is full of surprises. According to Edison Research, radio is by far the #1 source of entertainment in the car. More than streaming, more than CDs, and more than satellite. Reach 9 out of 10 people with your message on radio. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Call Royal Gorge Broadcasting today at 275-7488.
KRLN weather, sunny and warmer today with southeast winds at 10 this afternoon. The high today around 86. Clear skies tonight, the low near 54. Sunny, just a few degrees cooler tomorrow. Tomorrow's high around 83. 80 was our high yesterday with the low this morning of 52. 73 degrees now at the weather station.
Radio 1400 KRLN.
We are back with Right Time Radio, and we are visiting with Jean Alfieri, and I've got my co-host Sue Haas and me, Lynn Donovan, and we are having a blast. And even Tay is having a lot of fun
It's
today.
a hoot.
A hoot nanny even.
I love it.
We keep laughing, and I see Tay at the board keep trying to adjust because of our laughter.
We're getting too loud. But we found a couple of quotes that we just think are awesome. So Sue's got one and Jean's got one. So go ahead, Sue.
And these are in the book, little pieces that she has in here. And I'm a major Katharine Hepburn fan, and this is why. If you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun.
Nice. I like that one.
Yeah, and it was interesting trying to pull the right ones because there are so many great
Yeah, I
quotes.
know.
Yes.
I have one in here from Mae West. You only live once, but if you do it right, one is enough.
Once is enough.
Yep.
I have a tea towel that has well-behaved women seldom made history.
Ooh, isn't that the truth?
Well, you guys ought to be in the books.
I know. It's like that's how I justify my behavior.
There he goes on the board again.
She's channeling Mae West. That's what she's doing.
Why don't you come up and see me? So
That was pretty good. I haven't heard her for so long I can't do
Okay,
it.
I'm going to exit right now. So
he's ready to hit that
Exit
button.
laughing.
Well, Jean, let me ask you something. If somebody buys this book, where should they start?
at the front.
At the front is not a bad place to start. I offered to Mike's girlfriend to start on chapter 7 because it's an easy place to move into it if you're not familiar with writing. But really just look at the different prompts and see what resonates with you.
That is the beauty about it is you can just flipping through it and you can say, oh, I need to write this down.
Yeah,
Right.
that sparked this
Yeah.
memory.
And
Yeah.
at the back, there are actually bonus blessings. So the first one is an
nice.
awesome family story.
I haven't gone to the back yet.
This story may not even include you, but you've heard it repeated many times, or perhaps it's a story about you, but you were too young to remember when it happened. And it may be your grandparents who love telling it the most, but everybody knows it. It's a classic.
My daddy was a great storyteller,
See?
and I so regret that I never recorded anything.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right.
Well, I was blessed to have known 2 aunts that were my grandmother's aunt. So they were my great aunts. We called them the aunties. They were Aunt Scotty and Aunt Deli. And the real name was Nellie and Deli, and I have 2 dachshunds named Nellie and Deli in honor of them. Hopefully they're not rolling over in their grave. But I knew them till, gosh, I was almost a teenager before they passed. And thank you, Jesus, that my brain was such that as a child, I loved them telling me their stories. And they would talk about living in mud huts. The older one, Nellie, she came with the family in the covered wagon to Oklahoma, and they did the land run and got the acreage and built the homes and all that. And then Aunt Deli was born there.
Yeah.
So, but she knew the stories because she was one of the younger ones of 9 children. And I can remember I literally would sit down in front of them and say, tell me a story. And they would tell me how they took leaves and they took sticks and they would weave the sticks through the leaves to make teacups. And that's how they had tea parties and how they took corn husks and made dolls.
Yes.
And we would I was just fascinated with that kind of stuff. And I'm the oldest in my family, so I have a sister and a brother who's of this same family. Hello, I don't know why I started to say that. Anyway, I will contact them from time to time and go, do you remember the story about blah, blah, blah? And both of them are like, no, we really don't. I'm like, oh, man, why did you not sit at their feet like I did?
Yeah, and you got to capture it.
What is wrong with you? But they were a lot younger than me. They're like, they're 6 and 7.5, 8 years younger than me. So they didn't get it.
Right.
And then literally at the dining room table, we'd all sit around, and my dad he is the storyteller from whatever. And I mean, I get
You
my
need to
talent.
record it.
I get my talent from him, and he could tell the story so much better than it actually was.
And there's so many stories and many different things. Like in many families, food. So for me, I've already confessed I'm Italian.
Right.
So, when you make the gravy, it's what do you put in it? And I heard from my father that my grandmother, because my grandfather liked it sweeter, would put raisins.
Oh,
in
yeah.
And I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
But okay. But what a great story. That's what she did to make it sweeter. I like it spicier. I'm putting in some red pepper. So,
I do know that the Italian sauce has two versions. One's the sweet, and that's what my family does. My aunt, my mother's sister, married a full-blood Italian.
Yeah.
We have the sweet recipe. And then Tom Bruno, who used to be our co-host, he comes from the spicy family, and he said he had to really tone his down, his grandmother's recipe down.
Turn your
because it
ears
was
red?
too spicy, yeah. So, so isn't that fascinating?
there's stories and everything.
Absolutely.
My great aunt is what it was. She wrote a whole family history, which I was fortunate enough to have a copy of.
Neat.
And then a few years ago, we started talking about our 50th high school reunion. And one of my classmates, Becky,
Hi, Becky.
Becky Stivers, not my best friend Becky Loris, said that she texted me one day and she said, do you have a great aunt named Ida? Ida Ora, they did to this girl, Ida Ora. And I said, yes, why? Well, she said, well, my great-grandmother is Ida Ora.
Oh, cool.
Claus.
Oh, my.
And she had just found the same manuscript in the papers.
Fantastic.
That someone had passed away. And so we basically met in 7th grade, kind of, grew up together. We were friends in high school and found out we were cousins.
Cousins, yeah.
Outstanding.
Too cool.
Right.
And if someone hadn't written that down,
we
we
would
would
Never
not know.
known.
We'd have never known.
And that's the kind of things we lose.
Absolutely. You got to write it down.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so cool.
And share
and
it.
you've given us a media in which to do that, and I love it. Blessed to Be Me. It says Celebrating the Stories of Your Life by Jean Alfieri.
I want it to be colorful and fun.
And
so.
it is beautiful. It's a beautiful book. Tell us one more time if we want to get that excerpt.
Sure, yes.
From
Chapter
you
7.
and join your newsletter.
Yes,
Tell us
send
where
me
to
an
get
email. Send me an email at Jean, Jean, at Blessed to Be Me. That's BLESSED, tobeme.com, and I'll get it right out to you.
Nice. We're going to have to sign up for that one.
I know.
When we get out of here and get to a computer.
I meet these authors now, and I'm like, okay, here's this. Okay, so now all this cool stuff is coming in.
Absolutely.
So, but I don't have time to write now because I'm reading everybody else's stuff now.
It's all you do because we're working on a Christmas play for church.
Christmas play for church and commercials. And I've spent the last 2 weeks prop ferreting,
Yes,
which
you
would
have.
love, and
She
fabricating
is
props.
the queen of props, I'm telling you.
Awesome. Well, you guys have not been lazy during this time, that's for sure.
Well, what happened was you had that period of nothing.
Yeah.
And then we started easing into we need to do something. And now it's my little 3-year-old grandson came to the theater with me the other day, and he had his mask on, very good. And he was walking up to the prop room with me, and he said, Grandma, why are you grown-ups not wearing masks?
Booyah.
You're doing a very good job. Good boy. Wear your
we're
mask.
bad. We need to be punished.
Turn that right around on him. I'm like, good job, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I'm a stay-at-home author, so I mean, I stay home and I write all the time, but it still affected me because I could not, hey, Sue, let's go to lunch.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Hey, Jean, let's go to lunch. I'll meet you in Colorado Springs.
And
we couldn't do that.
Right. It seems like either people picked up the pace because they couldn't do the extracurricular things or they got stuck.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping now that people are at least getting themselves up and moving.
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Lynn and I went out to lunch. It's the first time I've been out to lunch because that was another thing that I wasn't doing.
Right.
Yes, I want to support local businesses and
Exactly.
everything, but I also do not want to go out in public.
Yeah. Well, we wore our masks until we sat down.
Until we sat down in the crowded restaurant with 50 other
wasn't
people.
that crowded now. Don't. She's embellishing
I know.
her
My
story,
husband
but
and I did the Abbey. We did the Abbey a couple weeks ago. It was beautiful. They've got the outside picnic tables, and it was lovely.
Which they've always had, actually.
And I didn't know that because I hadn't been. But I'm like, hey, they're open. Let's do it.
So speaking of what you're doing during the quarantine, that kind of segues me to mention that next week our guest author is this author that we all know. Her name's Lynn Donovan, and the reason we're having her is because
I was going to say, yeah, Jean.
She has published her 50th book. Woohoo! And we're going to share that book, and we have a another person that you know who's going to narrate it. His name is Patrick.
Already.
Yeah. Our
Yeah, you said he
city
was gonna be back
planner.
in here, yeah.
He is. That's going to be next week. And he is going to read that 50th book, an excerpt of that 50th book. And it's one of those 6 that I wrote that was the Sons of Honor. It's Jacob. And so that's the one that was the 50th book that I published. So I'm pretty excited about
Congratulations.
that. Thank you.
That's huge.
I thought it
awesome
was.
number. It's an awesome accomplishment.
Somebody asked me how many of you published. I'm like, so I went through and counted it up, and then I've written enough books this year that I actually went over that little line. So
nice. Good thing you're able to keep track of it. Because I would do the same thing. I'm not sure. Maybe
I literally went into Amazon and read them. Counted them.
I could tell you exactly how many, but I won't because.
So that's what we're doing next week.
I've written one entire book. I loved the beginning. I loved the end. I could never bring it together.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but that is almost every author's problem.
I did not
is
know
the
this.
middle. So, but anyway, so
the middle is.
Join us next week for Patrick and Lynn and Sue and Tay and
a good
And
old
we're gonna
time.
have drinks, cocktails,
Funny hats. Funny hats. Yes.
funny hats.
Funny hats. I love
funny hats. I can do that. And be sure and email Jean and get that excerpt from her because
Please do.
There's not a limit. It's not just one. It's as many as will contact her.
Absolutely.
She will send that
Jean
to
at blessedtobeme.com.
That's it.
And she's also on Amazon, and you can actually buy this book on Amazon. It's
$17.95.
It's Alfieri like Guy Alfieri.
Yes.
The food guy, right?
It is.
It's Alfieri like Guy
Alfieri,
Alfieri.
yes.
So if you
Well done.
love him,
Are you
there you
related?
go.
No,
Oh.
not that I know
Darn.
of. Who knows?
Not saying.
There might be
Yeah, I
something
gonna
written
say.
Yeah, there you go.
Somewhere.
Right,
You can have
Exactly.
him come in.
Yeah, oh, that would be fun.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. This is Right Time Radio, and we love you all, and thank you for listening.
Yes, thank
God
you
bless.
for coming.
Coast to Coast fills the overnight Saturday and Sunday, 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. AM 1400 KRLN, Canyon City.